Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We are returning after a bit. A lot has happened in the past 7 to 10 days. We are essentially speaking about a massive outpouring of anger and grief by the lawyers fraternity over an incident that has shamed Goa even further. We are essentially focusing on the brutal assault of an advocate by cops of the Porvorim police, who literally almost ensured that the advocate's basic faculties of speaking and thinking would have got permanently damaged if there was not timely medical intervention. The brutal assault of a lawyer by a policeman or policemen who purportedly had no business going to a property where a civil matter was going on, is itself a matter of grave concern and a matter of investigation. But what is important to note here is that in this entire episode, what has sharply resurfaced again is the fact that the police force in Goa is functioning less as a law-abiding and a law-enforcing agency, but as goons in uniform who are being used as hatchet men of the ruling political party. And this is basically a concern. We are also not saying that this is the first time it has happened. We are also not saying that previous political parties have not done what is happening right now. But the matter of concern is that the whole system seems to accept the fact that might is right as far as the police is concerned. We will also look into the manner in which the issue was handled post this grave injury to this lawyer. So far, there has been no arrest. A suspension promise has been given by the Chief Minister, and the suspension may have already happened. The point remains is that there is no proper ratio between crime and punishment, and the big ask, and we all have eminent lawyers here, the big ask which I am going to bring to the table is, can you do any investigation when the main perpetrators of the crime are still around and have the ability to tamper with crucial witness? I have a very, very eminent panel, as I said again, of lawyers who are there in their professional capacity, but also, they represent political parties, so we need to be upfront about it as well. And so we start with Advocate Shankar Fatte. Advocate Fatte, of course, is with the BAPSA Forum, Lawyers Forum, and has been one of the key people involved in this whole agitation to take it to its logical conclusion. Welcome. Next to me is Advocate Yatish Nayak, again very senior, promising young lawyer, but here he is also here in his capacity as the spokesperson for the BJP, and so questions with regard to the party and by extension to the government also will obviously be directed at him for his proper, in-depth, well thought out responses. On my left, I have Advocate Shashank Narvekar. Advocate Narvekar again has been very closely linked to this whole agitation and the response to the attack on his colleague. But I would also like to point out that this is not really a lawyers versus police agitation, though it has been triggered off as such. But the issues that I initially raised in the beginning of this debate is something that we need to speak. Shashank Narvekar happens to be with the Congress. He is the bloc president, but he is here in his capacity more as a stakeholder of the ongoing agitation rather than anything else. I will start with Advocate Shashank Narvekar. If you could just begin by not speaking specifically about the issue, I'll come to it later, but on the whole aspect of police high-handedness which we are seeing now.
Thank you, Sujoy, for having me here. The reason I personally got involved in this was also the question that you have posed to me as to why is this police high-handedness a continuing concern for our society in general and for the citizen who is looking towards the policeman for a helping hand as opposed to being a hand that is striking them down with their lathis. Um, I have practiced now for about 16 years. I have seen, although I'm primarily a lawyer who practices in the civil spectrum, I have seen that the police has in general been overstepping where there are complaints being made, seeking parties to come before them and being a judge, where they try to pacify both the parties, try to make settlements between the parties where they have no standing in terms of law as well as procedure. I have seen that there are senior citizens who file complaints against their children who are treating them badly. The children are paying off the constables. They are not. The complaints are not being given heed to. I have been an elected representative where I have approached the police for several of these sort of issues. Yes, there are officers who are supportive, who go by the book, who know their duties, who are trained well and they are abiding by the law. Yet, it has been seen commonly that a large section, especially those which are in common contact with people, which is in the present case a police constable, a head constable and his honchos you can call them, who have stepped out of line, gone beyond their duty on the instruction of a superior, which is yet to be proved of course, but on the instruction of a senior, somebody who is involved, who are unnecessarily overstepping their line and exercising their might as if they are there to police only for a certain section of society which is well placed in terms of money.
Right.
And then the other person is left to fend for himself, running pillar to post, like all the lawyers had to do over the last week.
Yes.
Where we had no response from the PI, we had no response from the DYSP. The SP seemed to be too busy to pay attention. The SP North thereafter did not pay heed. The transfer of the file took almost 2 days. The DG has not paid attention.
You mean the transfer of the file from the Porvorim police station to the crime branch?
Yes, I think the file, I could have walked over with it across the bridge in lesser time than the amount of time that they've taken to get the, and of course the department itself, which all the lawyers made an appeal that you please look into it. The Home Minister, please look into it. This is a serious matter. Does not matter that the Prime Minister is coming. Does not matter if there are other issues that are plaguing, but look into this. It's a serious matter. A person has been brutally attacked, where his vital senses have been shocked to a point where he does not recollect even a minute of that incident. He has gone through surgery while the perpetrator's FIR gets registered, and he roams freely, free to continue hafta collecting, continue to get into such issues.
Right. Yatish, I'll come to you now. If you could just elaborate a little bit on what Advocate Narvekar said, but the aspect of this police high-handedness, is it coming from the whole comfort that there are forces within the police which will protect you even if you commit an illegality?
See, Sujoy,
Yeah.
I also come from the same fraternity
Right.
of lawyers.
Right.
This instance that
Yes.
has happened
Yes.
has to be investigated into.
Right.
And it is being investigated into, as the higher officers in the police have stated. See, in the dispensation of justice mechanism, there are certain definite roles which certain definite people in the system have to perform. So police have to perform their set of role, and it is their set of duties, and for which they are accountable, they are answerable. Similar cases with lawyers. We also have a set of duties to perform. Similar is the judiciary. So everybody has got a set role. Now, if anybody breaches it, it is wrong. Instances like this should not happen. Is there doubt about it? That gentleman, the lawyer who has been Gajanan Sawant, he is a colleague of mine also. So, fact of the matter is that police, there has to be accountability. There is accountability, and accountability has to catch up on everybody. There is no doubt about it. If something is breached or some excess is done, or whatever it is, which is being looked into. Why I'm saying this is there are some police complaints before the police. At the same time, now High Court is seized of the matter. So I am very sure that justice has to be delivered, and it will be delivered. Because otherwise, what happens is the ordinary person has a lot of faith which he reposes in the system, and which he should repose in the system. So for that, justice has to be delivered in every case, and in this case too.
Okay, I have a couple of questions based on what you said. See, you've rightly highlighted the symptom. I'm trying to urge you to get into the root of the disease. See, the symptom is high-handedness. The root of the disease is where does the police get the wherewithal and the audacity, it can be anybody, to take the system or take the law into their own hands in such a blatant manner. If it was a one-off case, we would have said, yes, this investigation is going on as it should be. But this seems to be this police high-handedness, as Advocate Narvekar also said, seems to be becoming a pattern where certain policemen, you know, especially in interesting and sensitive police stations, seem to be playing a role which is far beyond their designated role. I mean, as settlers, as fixers, as people who threaten, as you know, almost taking on the or even, you know, he used the word hafta collectors and so on and so forth. The point here is that where does, see, what happens is we also need to know where did that particular constable feel that he could get away with this.
No, one thing I can tell you, that nobody is protecting anybody, and justice will be delivered. That much I can tell you. And the Chief Minister, the fraternity of lawyers met the Chief Minister. Honorable Chief Minister has taken some action, which is also there for all to see.
Okay.
So the seriousness of the matter is being examined, and justice will be delivered. But
Okay,
one thing I can tell you,
yeah,
because you repeatedly put it in different ways.
right.
Nobody from the government, nobody from the government will protect anybody who is in breach of law or excess of law.
Right.
This much I can tell you.
Okay. Yatish, I have one question to ask you. See, if it was not a police constable, if it was an ordinary person, okay, who went and murderously thrashed either a lawyer or somebody else, okay, if it had happened, if he did not if he was not a man of uniform, do you think that this constable would have been set free or allowed to roam free with no arrest and no repercussions?
You cannot go with suppositions and all. I look
No,
at
but
it like
this
this.
is always supposition, no?
I look at it like this.
Okay.
And the lawyers fraternity also has very responsibly, to which we all belong,
Right.
has put it before the people and the powers that be in the state,
Right.
who are in the administrative chairs.
Right.
One thing they have said, that this instance should be looked upon as an instance where there was this with a common person and the police, and the common person happens to be a lawyer in this case.
Right.
Therefore, I said to you that whether whoever it may be, lawyer or individual or whatever, in this case it is individual. One thing I can tell you, that nobody will be protected who has exceeded.
I beg to differ on this opinion. I beg to differ on this opinion. If I step out on the street and cause an injury of a serious and grievous nature to another person, I will be behind bars to restrict me from tampering with evidence, to restrict me from interfering with witnesses, to restrict me from threatening the victim, to make sure that the weapon has been recorded with immediately. And this has not been followed in the case. This is the high-handedness what we are talking about. It is not the answer that the court will, of course the court is seized of the matter. We all respect the High Court. They will monitor the probe. But what about the aspect of when a normal a citizen of the country gets into such a scuffle and such an injury is caused? He is not allowed to roam the streets to continue his activities. Even half a day, that person will not be there. He will be behind bars. Okay. Then why this special treatment to this particular officer?
Important point, we'll get back to it. At this juncture, I warmly welcome Advocate Cleophas Coutinho, who's just joined us, and welcome to this debate. And you probably would have guessed what the subject is, and we'll get you in. But before I come to you, Advocate Shankar Fatte, patiently waiting. Advocate Fateh, if you could just quickly respond on this point, because this round is essentially on the police high-handedness.
See, we are,
So what did you, in this entire episode, my point is, what are your impressions about the police action and the supposed inaction or otherwise on part of the administration?
See, the police action and the fallout always of police action seems to be like the person concerned is my department, is my junior, my subordinate. I have the responsibility to protect my subordinate. That seems to be the administrative action and the mode of administration in police department or any other department for that matter. That they think that it is their prime duty to protect the subordinate.
Right.
Now this is what has happened here. In this case, what has happened is one errant police officer oversteps and commits something. A lawyer is assaulted, who is an officer of the court. The lawyer comes to the police station. And when he comes to the police station to lodge his complaint, he is made to sit for 5 hours. He is humiliated at the police station. And at that point of time, the lawyer puts a message in the advocates group, please help me, I am in trouble, I have been assaulted. How unfair is that? So, what I am saying, if at all, so there is a different defense story now, what is coming to, that the lawyer assaulted the police. And then the police retaliated.
No, we'll get to that. Let us also accept that it could have happened.
Yes.
But we'll get into that later.
No, what
Okay.
I'm saying is the duty of the superior officers is to be looked into. Now, when such incident happens, immediately the SP should have stepped in. Disciplinary action which is ordered by the CM should have been actually initiated
By his
the
head of department.
Head of department.
Right.
Which has not happened in this particular case. And the lawyer had to come and agitate and voice their grievances, which is very unfortunate actually to happen.
Good point. Advocate Kutir, I'll just bring you in here. If you could just, before we get into this whole issue, as we began by asking, is that this happens to be a pattern rather than an exception, where the police is, out overstepping its role. There's a complete breach, and different police personnel in different police stations seem to be getting their orders and directions from a area which is beyond policing.
Yes. See, if you look at the police system, not only now but for hundreds of years,
Right.
they are known to behave in a high-handed manner. It is because of that a statement before the police is not used as evidence in a court of law by law, because they always act in a high-handed manner. Number two, I would not say in Goa, but in the entire country, it has become a pattern of use of police in civil matters. Every MLA, every minister wants a pliable police officer in his jurisdiction. In fact, if you ask me, I will say that every MLA wants to have the DYSP, PI, and the deputy collector. These three officers with him, because
His own picks.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he wants to use them as and how he wants. I would say police interfering in civil matters have to be stopped once and for all somehow. Now this, I hope the High Court, which has taken cognizance of the matter, deals with this issue also very seriously, because they have no business to be there in civil matters. Now coming to this incident, I don't agree with Advocate Fatte that there is protection of subordinates. Protection of subordinates is there up to a particular level. Beyond that, the superiors don't protect the subordinates. In this case, there has been a very high voltage agitation, and still the superiors are not taking action. The political establishment is not taking action. The administration is acting so late. It is very clear that he has the protection politically, he has the protection of his superiors much more than normal subordinate protection which subordinates get. So this is a protection of a very high level, which according to me shows that in our state, at least if you look at what is happening, the administration, the police system, the policing has completely collapsed. And this is only an indication. When Yatish says that the advocate should be a commoner, yes, every commoner must be treated with dignity. But we all know that people who are, say, professionals, high-placed professionals, advocates, doctors, get little extra attention. I don't mean they should get that attention. But in this case, when an advocate is assaulted, say a doctor is assaulted, or a IT professional is assaulted, it is very clear, and the administration does not act. It shows that the administration has collapsed. The government means nothing. I think it's a very serious issue.
A quick response to
I'll
that.
just
Yes,
this.
yes, yes.
What I meant to say is that in any case, there should not be excesses. That is what I'm saying. Whether he is a doctor, a lawyer, a common man, or a simple pedestrian,
Right.
there should not be excess. One thing I will disagree, and I would want to say that it is not correct. That in this case also, see the chronology of things. See, therefore I said, Advocate Parab, Advocate Sawant is also my colleague. I mean,
Yes, yes.
we are one fraternity.
Right.
So we want ultimately that justice has to be delivered after investigating whatever is before the police. Because there are quite a few complaints, I'm told. Now, what I'm trying to only say, that as far as officers are concerned who are here in this subject, on this complaint, some action has been taken. Matter is under investigation. It's wrong to say that the government has not taken action or the department has not taken action. Some action has been taken. It is under investigation. To add to it, I can also say that the matter is now before the High Court, and High Court has already issued notices to all. So therefore, one thing I can say very, very affirmatively, that nobody is being protected, nobody is being shielded, and whatever justice has to be delivered in the right manner will be delivered.
Okay,
Now,
we'll-
governmental level, please don't drag politics in it. Please don't drag politics because it may sound juicy, but don't drag politics into it.
Okay, why so?
Because there is no political involvement in this matter. What is the political involvement? Action is being taken. Chief Minister himself has taken action. The bar associations have met the Chief Minister. Chief Minister has taken action upon, then the bar association representatives have come and spoken at the place where the agitation was going on, which was the crime branch. Based on that, they have then dispersed. Whatever it is, the facts are before everybody. So it is not correct to say that no action is being taken. All action as required for delivery of justice at the governmental level, police level will be taken. Nobody is being protected. That is what I am saying. That every time that is being said that somebody is protecting someone, nobody is protecting anybody.
Okay, Advocate Fateh, quick response to what Yatish said.
Yes. See, here the protection of the police officer, errant police officer here is very clear and is like open to the naked eye of the general public, even to the lay person. And it is like laughable, like we are saying that no one is being protected. See, the very fact that 307 such a serious and grievous offense has been imputed against the particular police officer, and there has been credible information and supporting evidence which is prima facie disclosing this kind of offense, the arrest of that police officer was very imperative.
If I may just add
Yes,
to
yeah.
It was
what
very
Advocate
imperative.
Fateh is saying,
Yeah.
when my colleague here, Yatish, is saying that all action has been taken, it's sad to see
No,
that
I am not saying that. I am
whatever
saying
was
that some
necessary.
action.
No, let
See,
me complete.
Yes.
listen, no,
Yes,
I didn't say
whatever.
that. I said some action has been taken,
Some
and it has
action.
been promised that investigation in proper terms will be done.
So,
correct.
Right
but
now,
the
right-
unfortunate part here is that it took 150 people to go to the police station to take a simple action like registering an FIR, and it took 500 lawyers from all over Goa to come before the crime branch for the CM to see that there's something that
No,
was
that's
going
not
on.
right here. See,
It
at
is
the end of the
absolutely
day,
the
you
way that
also
it is.
understand that I myself, in my capacity,
very
I am
fact-
also a lawyer.
No, the
So
very
nobody
fact-
is protecting. See, the fact is some action has been taken by the government.
That is what.
Now,
some
and
action.
whatever is being told by the chief
Is
minister
that
also,
satisfactory according to you?
therefore I said, see the chronology of it. The bar associations have gone and met the chief minister. After the chief minister was met, some action has been taken, and it has been promised that this
Yatish,
case will
you
be.
see the
One second, let
chronology-
me
you
complete.
see the
Let me-
chronology
let me
from the
com-
time
Okay,
that
let
we
me complete
complete.
and
Let
we
me
can
complete
get
and
back
then
to
you
you.
add.
Yes.
The bar associations went and met the chief minister.
Right.
Chief minister has taken action and has promised that whatever is needed to take to the bottom of this will be done. Proper justice will be delivered. Nobody will be protected. and proper investigation will be done. This has
I
been
think
no,
the
let
chronology-
me just this. So that was stated by the Chief Minister. Based on that, the bar association, the representatives of various bar associations which were in protest or which were demanding, they have gone back to the crime branch where the congregation of lawyers had assembled, and there they have made some statement which is also in the press this, and based upon that they have said that investigation is being done.
Okay.
See, actually
Chronology-
the chronology
Okay,
of
okay.
events is such
Okay.
that the government, the police has not acted with the alacrity the situation warranted. They have acted little bit after they felt the heat from the lawyers and from the High Court. There has been no action before that.
Okay, Arun, okay. Your last word before we
the
take a break.
statement about chronology Samjo has become famous for quite a few years now. Yatish, chronology Samjo, on Wednesday was the assault. It took 48 hours for the FIR to get registered. After 150 advocates, after making a resolution, went there. Chronology Samjo that you had, after that, 2 days to transfer the file from Panjim to Mapsa. In chronology Samjo, after 48 hours being granted to you, not even statement of one person was recorded. Till 500 people descended. So either you choose to pick the chronology after the representation is made.
Don't use those words. I
But-
am not defending anybody. I am not protecting anybody. I am only stating that this is not a political debate. Therefore, I am telling you, this is a debate which is on the subject. One thing I can tell you on behalf of the party that I represent, that nobody is being protected. This much I can state with authority. Nobody is being protected, and investigation, fair investigation into this case will be entailed and is being done. Now, there are some complaints, cross complaints. See, I don't know the facts in that much, that which statement has been recorded, which statement has not been recorded. I am not handling the brief for anybody.
Right, right.
I don't know. I cannot make statements what has been recorded, what is collected. I cannot make it. It is on the exact subject of it. But one thing I can
we
tell
are
you.
looking at the overall sequence
One
of
thing I can
events.
tell you, don't politicize the issue, is my request. Don't politicize the issue, as Dr. has said, to the extent that police force has to function with accountability, which everybody agrees. Police force has to function with accountability. So if anybody has breached, law will catch up. And one thing I can tell you, but don't bring politics, because then we trivialize the whole thing.
See, Atish, I also don't think this is, nobody is actually bringing politics into it. One is essentially saying, as even Dr. Cleophas also said, that this issue of police high-handedness and protection or otherwise, it is agnostic to a political party. The system has become such.
No, see, I'm
so
telling
all
you,
of us
Sujoy,
sitting here
Sujoy, see.
needs to very seriously
See,
look at the
Sujoy,
system.
yes.
Uday Bemre always told us
Yes.
that one of his drawbacks as an MLA was
Yeah.
he never took help of the police. He lost.
Right.
Next time,
Right.
I mean, there was no space for him in the next
Right.
election. See,
Right.
that is how politics is.
And it
and
is
when
seen-
and when Yatish tells us to separate politics from the police.
No, I'm
as
not
far
saying
as,
that way.
the
I'm
police
saying
force-
don't politicize
the
this
police-
issue.
The police force.
Don't
the police
politicize this
force-
issue.
The police force and the politicians can't be separated. They have become one. In our system, they have become one.
No, all I'm saying, Doctor, is that let us not politicize this issue.
I am not.
Every
I am
Every
not- I am
issue
not talking
in
of this
our
issue.
country
According to
ends
me-
up in the doors of politics somehow or the other.
See, the idea is
It is not
we need
politics.
to, we need
It
to-
has landed up in
Yes.
at the door of administrative powers. Administrative powers are seized, and the action is.
Yes,
being
before we
taken. Don't bring
before,
politics.
before we get into a break, there's just only one observation I have. This entire discussion, as you were saying, politics being dragged in. I think overall the focus is on the administration, not only to do justice but to appear to be doing justice in a proper way. And doubts are being cast by people who are in the middle
No,
of.
see,
middle
I'm telling you.
on that.
I'm telling you.
Huh.
As far as police this functioning is concerned, reforms have to be done. That's an ongoing
Yes, we'll
process.
get into that.
Improvement,
Yes, yes.
all that is there. That's an ongoing process. Even for an individual, one has to attune to the times, and
Right.
one has to change for the better. So that is a part of the system that you have to improve. But the fact of the matter is, even in the police, all the transfers are being done by the police establishment board.
We'll get into that.
Listen,
We'll get into
listen,
that.
listen.
We'll
Who
get
can
into
Let
that.
us not
police establishment
let us
board?
let
See,
us let us not laugh it
see,
out.
often
I'm just trying
it
to
is
say
be-
what
it
is.
It is to be laughed only
Let
because
me-
the police
let me
establishment
say-
board
Okay, let me
is
answer.
also
Let me
controlled by the
say,
them.
let me say.
Okay, complete. Please complete.
And then you can
okay,
say
please,
what you want.
Okay, please complete.
All the transfers are being done by the police establishment board. You have a state police complaints authority. All the excesses of the police if at all anybody encounters of whatsoever nature can be petitioned before the state police complaint authority, which the administration has provided, system has provided. It is headed by a retired high court judge.
Okay.
You have the Human Rights Commission,
Right.
again by the High Court judge, headed by the judge. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to say that we should stop improving or what is there is perfect. See, improvement and moving towards perfection is a continuous process.
Okay.
But all I'm trying to say, even in this case, we should all say that we want investigation to be done properly, justice to be delivered. Fair. But don't say that politics is being this and somebody is being protected.
Okay, since we need to take a break, you've set the ground perfectly for the next half of the debate. We'll get responses to all your points. We'll take a very short break. Welcome back to the second half of the debate. I'll start off by asking Dr. Cleophas to quickly respond to some of the points laid out by Advocate Yatish Nayak on the fact that there is a system of the Police Complaints Authority. Police transfers are made by the proper police board, and it is the system, a well integrated system, that takes care of policing, completely devoid of politics or the government getting into it. But before we do that, let us look at what recently retired senior police officer Umesh Gaonkar has to say. Though he wasn't a part of this debate and he couldn't make it, but it's very important to get a view of a senior police officer who's just retired on what the role of the police should be.
Now it is alleged, as I heard and read into the from print media, that police has assaulted him. Now under the law, police are not empowered to assault or take law into their own hand. Police are supposed to enforce the law, being an enforcing agency. If at all there is anything, they have to set the law into motion by initiating a complaint and take appropriate action as per the law. Even if anybody has attacked police, police have no powers to retaliate by using the force. Only there is a provision under the law. In the circumstances, if it comes to his life, he can use the right of private defense. Otherwise, there is no provision under the law by which he can retaliate with the similar force or whatever. If any gathering is unruly, then you have to give a warning. You have to call a magistrate if they are not controllable. After giving due warning, under the law, there is a provision by which you can disperse them or you can arrest them. नी भितरले रियल ट्रूथ कितें आसा तें अजून कळुना न्ही. सो what I say, what he alleges of a brutal assault, that is to be seen first, with what is the substantial truth into his allegations. If it is true, then definitely police are at fault.
See, I don't agree that the police establishment board transfers the police officers. That may be done on paper. There is need to insulate the police establishment board from the powers that be. That board itself will have to be independent. See, it is like how you appoint the CVC at a central level. The Supreme Court realized that the appointment of CVC itself was getting politicized. So there has to be some mechanism where the police establishment board is also independent. According to me, the police establishment board is not independent. One. Number two, the various reforms that was suggested by the Supreme Court itself have not come into play.
Could you highlight a few of those?
See, the main thing is to insulate the policing from crime investigation. One. Number two, to see that the police is totally insulated from the government. That has not happened. Then Yatish tells us about Police Complaints Authority, file a writ petition, go to the Human Rights Commission. See, I can understand in this case, the High Court Bar Association went to the High Court, approached the High Court, okay, in this case. But how many times we expect citizens to file a petition before the High Court? Why do we expect a citizen to go to the Police Complaints Authority? Why should they be pushed to go to this authority? And how many citizens can afford this? The Human Rights Commission, going to the High Court, how many people can afford this? And in any case, we will find it is time consuming. So I don't see, these are authorities kept so that in that rare case, somebody goes to this authority and get justice. In our state and in our country, these such instances are not rare. They are regular happenings. So they are regular happenings. So according to me, there has to be an administrative check on these happenings. They should not happen so often.
See, what
Okay,
I was
Yatish,
trying
one
to
second.
say, no,
One
what,
second,
no,
Yatish,
what I was
Yatish,
only trying
I'll
to say.
come to you.
No, only one aspect.
I'll come to you.
I didn't say go to SPCA or
Okay.
go to. I said that there is an authority like the SPCA, Human Rights Commission. So excesses are accountable if they happen. I didn't say go there, go there. I didn't
Okay.
say that.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
The problem
I'll
is
come
there
back
is
to you.
Police Complaints Authority, there is Goa Human Rights Commission, there is High Court. With all that in place, we still find police excesses.
And with the
Okay, Arvind, yeah, you
with
make a
the-
point and then Yatish
as
and,
far as
can respond.
the police authority is concerned, their success rate with these kind of investigations is as good as negligible. What is the success rate when you go before SPCA? There are you can say thousands of complaints of this type which are lying. The police officer is suspended, like it is done in this case also. There is a review between 30 to 90 days and the officer is back to doing all his
But shouldn't the
excesses again.
solution be to strengthen the SPCA rather than
Yes,
negate it?
exactly. Now, I
rather
just
than
wanted
negate
to
it.
make this point. Now,
Ah.
the SPCA is constituted,
Right.
but SPCA has only like the power to do the inquiry, and after all, like they have to submit the report to the DG, and the department will take action.
Right.
So, in how many cases action has been taken? Any demotion has happened? Now,
SPCA is still a recommending authority, it's not
a final
so
authority.
at,
Just a
at this
recommending
juncture, I
authority.
just want to remind about one incident that happened in Melauli.
Right.
Because there was violation of human rights, so we could say there was a constitutional violation. The freedom of speech was curtailed. Like
In Sattari Taluka.
In Sattari Taluka.
Yeah, yeah.
What happened? The police officer is now promoted to the rank of device.
Back again on the job, doing the same excesses he
What I
continues
was
to do.
trying to say, Sujoy, what I was trying to say, don't get me wrong here. What I was trying to say,
Yeah.
I didn't say that if there is some excess, you go to SPCA.
Right.
That's not this.
Okay.
I'm trying to say that the system works with these authorities in place. That if, see, police also cannot just do something and walk away. Accountability is there. There is a duty check. Therefore, if there is some breach of accountability or excess, I'm only trying to say that there are authorities within, like the Human Rights Commission, SPCA, which are functional, and that's what I said. SPCA is headed by a retired High Court judge.
Okay, I'd like to bring
Human
in-
Rights Commission has got
Okay,
chairman who is a judge.
I would like to bring in and highlight one incident, and I'd like you to respond to it in the context of what you've just said. Almost 9 months ago, there was a gentleman called Hanuman Parab. He is a farmer leader, and he was basically attempting to ensure that the farms of the people in his area are protected. And there were these mining trucks moving through that belt, and he led a agitation to stop the mining trucks from entering into the fields and so on and so forth. He led a massive agitation. He was picked up by the PI and the PI of the Valpai police station and the DYSP of the area. They were picked up. He was taken into the police station and thrashed mercilessly. There were bruises, there were medical reports. Hanuman Parab has been on this forum and spoken about it. Hanuman Parab has been trying for the last 9 months to register an FIR on his own assault in that police station. His complaint has not been turned into an FIR for 9 months. What does Hanuman Parab do? Hanuman Parab has appealed to all the institutions that we've spoken of. He wrote a letter to the Prime Minister's office, and he wrote a letter to the President's office and the Governor. Then the President's office wrote to the Chief Ministers here. The Prime Minister's office, through the Cabinet Secretary, wrote a note to the Chief Secretary here, asking for urgent intervention in this issue. Even after the intervention of the Prime Minister's office and the President's office, Hanuman Parab has still not got justice. Even a complaint has not been registered against this. So we are essentially looking at, while these institutions exist, even if the highest office of the country cannot get the government here to register an FIR against a man who has been thrashed and is suffering even now, the point here is that what you are saying is absolutely okay on paper and the way it should be existing. But Hanuman's Parab example is a slap on the face of all that we say.
Since you sort of have asked it to me,
Right.
I can tell you one thing. I don't know this case in the nitty-gritties of the facts.
Okay.
So I do not want to come. I am a lawyer. I don't want to just get into
Fine,
something
fair
when I
enough,
don't know it
fair
in
enough.
detail.
But it's
But
hugely in public
I can
domain.
tell you,
Yeah.
our law and our mechanism, I'm talking generally,
Right.
our law and our mechanism has got an opening and a vent to get your grievances redressed. Now how? If your complaint is not registered, the authority to register it is a magistrate under 156. They can even monitor the investigation. Apart from your writ reliefs and all, when you can approach the appropriate court for specific reliefs as what your factuals this is maybe. But what I'm trying to say, there is a system where there are checks and balances. So when you try to tell me now improvement should be there, please understand
We
this.
are having
The
law
question here is
Let
not
me
whether-
just complete.
No.
Okay,
Let me
I'm
just
sorry,
complete.
because this has been repetitively said
Yeah.
and as is the practice of the ruling dispensation, that you repeat the
No,
same
it
thing
is
over
not
and
ruling
over,
or
and the
something. I'm
people
just
tend to
trying
believe
to-
what they're
So the
saying.
law-
Okay,
quick
you
response.
said the powers could not get him justice. It looks that some people are more powerful than the
Yes.
ones in power.
Very
At
unfortunate.
whose instance this incident happened. So it only shows who is powerful.
No, see,
and finally,
Sujoy.
all the institutions are not helping him.
No,
The
there,
check is there in place, but that check is not helping him. I am accepting all your facts, what you told me. I will not take a stand as a lawyer. I do not want to go into it. I am accepting your facts because we are not supposed to.
And this is public
yes,
domain.
No,
and-
we are not supposed to tell lies on a public platform like
correct,
this.
correct.
So I accept
This
this.
is completely
and
public
if
domain,
This
I
is
mean-
so. Then it shows who is more powerful.
No.
the
It is like this.
Yeah.
the
I
systematic
cannot
breakdown.
admit the facts because I am not personally aware, and I am not like as Dr. said. I'll just accept the facts. I cannot do that because I have to speak on the facts. I should know the facts.
Fair enough.
Like
But-
this case of this lawyer
No, you are
assault,
not called upon to
relatively
commit
from
the
what has
question-
come,
the
I can
question-
at least I know the matrix. Like this lawyer
No, but
assault.
the question
Now that
here-
case which you are trying, I don't know the facts.
You're not aware of the Hanuman Parab
No,
case
no.
I
at all.
know
Yatish,
by
Yatish,
something
Yatish,
that I have
we are
heard,
not-
but I do not know in
This-
detail.
This choice of naivety has to stop. You,
No, there is no
the
question of
the
naivety. Something that is
posed by-
inconvenient
no,
to
the
you doesn't
question-
become naivety.
The question posed by Sujoy is not in respect of the facts of the case of the Parab's case, neither is it in respect of the facts of the
Absolutely.
present case. The question posed by Sujoy is very particularly of the apathy and the heartlessness that the ruling administration has
See.
towards any person who is approaching any of these authorities, that even if the direction comes to intervene from the highest office of this country, yet the local authority here is not taking any action. And in our case, it's simpler than that, I would say, that we have had to go to an extent where we have had to come down to the street, yet not a single person who is sitting in his office in the administrative chambers of our society here and doesn't even have a look as to what is going outside. Doesn't
See,
even have a
no,
look
no,
at what is
no,
going
no, no,
outside.
Be careful in the
heartlessness
usage
is-
of your words because there is no naivety and nothing. I am only trying to point out. I cannot speak on that case. Get me in the perspective. I see to speak on the facts. I should know the facts.
Okay.
No, we are not
I
calling
cannot
you,
just
we are
speak.
not
Now,
calling you
one
to
second,
speak on
one
these
second,
facts.
one second. So question is not that you pose something and I answer it. It is not that way. You have asked a question. I am trying to say with all responsibility that nobody should be protected in the system who is in excess of his duty. Correct?
Absolutely.
Whether you are a
Correct,
common man
correct.
or whether you are a politician or whether you are a police officer or whether you are anybody.
Okay, Yatish. hand
If
on
you are
heart.
in excess of law
Okay.
or you have acted in excess or breach, law has to catch up.
Okay,
If
Yatish,
it is
hand on-
in this case also, anybody involved, law has to catch up.
But hand
Nobody
on heart,
should be
but
protected.
hand on heart,
Yeah.
do you feel?
What do you mean hand on heart? I'm
do
telling you with
no,
all
my issue,
sincerity.
no, let me,
I'm telling you nobody has to be
allow me
protected.
my question is not complete. I'm saying my question is now, hand on heart, do you actually believe that practically the desire to have an absolutely honest, clean, law-abiding system exists in Goa today, not only in this case,
See,
but in all the
my
cases.
friend, you are not understanding. You are not understanding.
Okay, make me
If I
understand,
say that everything is hunky dory and rosy, your improvement and your scope for improvement will collapse.
Okay,
There has to always be a movement towards improvement.
Okay, let us start with you. I am saying that what according to you in this particular system, what needs
No,
improvement?
no, system means what? This whole, you have to have a 5 hour debate for that. Understand
No,
this.
no, in this, no. The question is very simple. In terms of police reforms and policing and
Therefore, I'm telling
political
you,
interference, like
the
as Dr.
first
said,
thing that
what
has
will
to
you
happen-
do? What will you do to stop
I
political
will tell you, the
interference?
first thing which is important is that police force has to discharge its duties without any favor or without any excess or without any breach. They are accountable. You have to go by the rule book.
Right.
Therefore, I'm telling you, the first thing is this. Therefore, when a police person or whoever it may be acts, if a government officer acts in excess of law or acts in breach of law, the system must catch up with him. And
it
that's what I'm
It is
saying.
Is it
happening.
happening?
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is it happening? See, if it is, now take this case.
Right,
The investigation has to be done properly.
right.
Whoever is responsible has to be brought to book. As simple as that. There should be no protection to
No, I would
anybody
like, I
who
would
is in
like to make
excess
a
of law.
point here. See,
Okay.
this is not an
Fair enough.
isolated case.
Yatish has made a point. If you
Yes.
please respond. Yes.
This is not an isolated case. There are instances where police are overstepping, going overboard, and thrashing the lay person. I am handling 2 cases of such kind. One boy just happened to be a student activist. Like he came to the police station to pay a challan which was issued to his friend,
Right.
and he just questioned like, why is this challan issued? He got thrashed. Not only that, he got
Which
thrashed.
police station was this?
Mapsa police station.
Okay.
Now he got thrashed, his hair was cut, and he was made to sit there in the police station half naked.
Seriously?
Yes.
When
And,
was this?
This is just 2-3 years back.
Okay.
And now the case is before the Human Rights Commission. Counter charge sheet against him is being filed in the Mapsa police station, and he is to face the brunt. Now this is one thing. Another case just happened during the COVID times in Kalangut police station, wherein a travel operator, someone filed a complaint against a travel operator. Then travel operator was called, and you pay me this, otherwise I will spoil your tour. And he was just thrown into the, even when he was infected with COVID, he was in the jail.
Okay. Right.
Now, there was human rights violation again here. So this is a regular thing which is happening. Why the police is doing? Because once they wear the uniform or they get a support of their superior or masters or political masters, whoever they are, they just go on a rampage. They get that power, something incites them, and then they don't know that there is a law existing.
Right.
So they don't know what is their purview. So to improve, like how Yatish said, that the improvement will be you get Baba Ramdev here in Goa and make them do some meditation, and that could be improvement.
Okay.
Because
That's his
and-
idea.
and-
That's his idea.
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
that's his
this-
idea of improvement.
On this aspect,
and you
on
recite
this-
all the law. You
on
recite
this
the law to
aspect
them.
of all the systems existing, nobody is denying that. Have we denied that the systems don't exist? Human Rights Commission has existed, SPCA has existed, the High Court, Supreme Court, every authority and every system has existed.
Right.
Where is the operation of these systems to improve the condition that the country is deteriorating to is the question which requires to be answered.
Right. Okay. I'd like to bring in one more aspect of this, coming back to this case in particular. See, right now the situation is such that the suspension orders of this particular head constable and 3 others have been done. Your entire fraternity was adamant, and rightly so, that nothing short of arrest should happen. Action that is much more stringent needs to be taken. Now, are you all satisfied with the way it has panned out, in the sense that is the suspension order enough to set the wheels of justice rolling?
See, in my opinion, you have to understand the severity of the crime.
Right.
And the severity of the crime itself will warrant a severe reaction to that. In our case here, it is it's the section 307 which is attracted. Now, when a complaint is made, you can go under 154(1), the PI has powers. You can go under 154(3), the SP has powers. If you are not satisfied, then you can go under 156(3), where the magistrate takes the powers.
Right.
This never transpired. Now, the response that we got from the SP was that there is no complaint, there is no statement recorded. However, the counter FIR was registered. Supreme Court is clear that when there are counter complaints, both the FIRs have to be registered.
Right.
That action does not take place. Now, when the MAPSA Advocates Forum passed a resolution, there were 5 demands, and they were very simply rightful demands that were made. One was immediate registration of FIR. The second was that the arrest should be made. Suspension, of course, would follow once the arrest would made. The transfer from the police station, the investigation to be transferred elsewhere, and then speedy disposal and
Fair
filing
enough.
of charge sheet.
Yes.
Now, it took 48 hours for us and 150 advocates to get the FIR registered. The file to be transferred took 2 days. Thereafter, the responses that we got from every officer that was dealing with the file was dumbfounding to even, I don't even want to recall as to what kind of explanations we have been given. Now, the reason why we had sought for arrest in this specific case was because this officer is a history sheeter himself. He has been suspended twice before. He has complaints against him which are pending. There are SPCA proceedings against him. There are issues regarding disproportionate assets against him. What stops the CM short from arrest? Why the suspension again? To review in 30 days and put him back to collecting hafta? This was the reason why we had asked for the arrest. Now, for whatever reasons, the suspension order seemed to be a satisfactory response, and why the process of going up to the arrest was not followed up is for other people to answer. My simple question is that when we are seeking, based on a resolution, the arrest of a certain officer, there is a certain background to it. There was a certain severity. This was a heinous offense with a grievous injury, where there was swelling of the brain and the jaw has been fractured. He has undergone surgery. How does he practice in the future? When all these issues were
You are
raised,
essentially
arrest was,
saying that the
it had
damage
to
is
be
far
done.
more. See,
It
it
is
could
far
impact
more.
his career.
It is going to affect. He cannot speak today. He cannot open his mouth.
I see.
At the current situation is that he can't open his mouth.
Right.
In that situation, in 307, where every other individual is arrested at the first instance, why is this individual being kept out?
Fair enough. Doctor, I'd like to, we've had a lot of responses along these lines. I'd like to bring in another aspect of it, a slightly positive aspect. You see, if we look at the outpouring of sentiment on behalf of the fraternity all across Goa, South Goa, East Goa, North Goa, South Goa, and even South Goa responded wonderfully to this.
Maharashtra Bar Council also
Maharashtra Bar
came
Council reacted. This also is a positive sign that our society, whether they are professionals and otherwise, are no longer willing to. They've reached the end of their teeth. They will no longer. It is bubbling over. In spite of all the drawbacks we have, we at least have a society which is unwilling to take this lying down anymore. And do you see some ray of hope in the manner in which the spontaneous response happened? Or are you still skeptical?
I am skeptical. According to me, this the outpouring happened because the advocates, to a large extent, are having their own associations.
Right.
There is lot of camaraderie amongst them.
Right.
While common citizens who face the same from the police do not have that camaraderie, and they are not in organized form. And if I look at what is happening in the country and in our state, we have certainly not reaching that point, but we have crossed it also. We have crossed it much earlier. But if you say that that this would be a spark for something good to happen, it is always welcome.
Right.
It is always welcome. But I would only add to what my friend said. See, this arrest for every crime may not be justified. But the police who arrest citizens at the first instance, the moment a FIR is registered, and in this case, there is a fracture of jaw, there is a swelling in brain, as claimed by him. According to me, by the standards set by the police,
Right.
this was a reason for the police to arrest
Yes,
the policeman.
absolutely right.
I am not saying he should be otherwise arrested, but I am demanding his arrest based upon standards set by the police themselves.
See, Sujat, understand one thing. Arrest in case of any crime is prerogative of the investigating officer.
Right.
We are not denying that. But a set general practice over time has put in motion the understanding with lawyers and generally amongst the public that when it comes to heinous crimes, when it comes to grievous injuries, the first thing that you need to do is arrest.
Right. Right. Okay.
One more point
yes,
is
and then
not
we
mentioned
wrap
here.
up.
There are 2 crimes registered against both the parties, and only 1 crime against the police officers that has been transferred to the crime branch. The other crime is still being investigated by the same police station. Now, how unfair is that? So, when we are asking for a free and fair investigation, I think both the crimes should have been transferred.
Only one aspect that I would like to state, that the complaints by all the whoever have filed are with the police.
Right.
The only thing is that proper investigation should be done,
Right. Right.
and
Undoubtedly.
whoever is guilty should be brought to book. And
Right.
Chief Minister has said that proper investigation will be done. The higher ups in the department, if I am not mistaken, the DIG has said that, DIG or IG
IGS.
has said it, that proper investigation will be done and he'll ensure that the crime branch investigates it properly.
Okay.
Basically,
One-
proper investigation should be
Correct.
done.
Proper investigation must be done. Yatish every now and then said the system must catch up. The problem with us is the system is not catching up, and that is why we are sitting here.
Okay. Now, before we conclude, I think we'll have one more round where let us look at solutions, and that's what we'd like to get out of these discussions. Everybody talks about reforms. I request each of you to just give a couple of points which would be practical towards the cause of really reforming the system,
So, first thing would be
the police system.
police station. First thing would be you give some more powers to the SPCA. We cannot overnight expect a miracle to happen and the police department will change. No,
Right.
there has to be some good authority in law which would act on the department if they are overstepping.
right.
So that SPCA, which is constituted, and we are investing in a lot of machinery and a lot of our capital into that institution.
Right.
So why not empower the SPCA, wherein the High Court judge is being appointed, presiding? Why don't empower and have faith in the SPCA by giving them more powers, to
Okay.
act and
Okay.
to prescribe the
Okay.
punishment.
We take that point.
Yeah.
Yatish, according to you, what should be the whole
I
reform
feel
mechanism?
that
Yes.
police as an institution should go strictly by the rule book. The question of discretion and wishes and fancies and all that should be done away with.
Right.
And for that, I feel that I have reason to believe, and I believe that the Chief Minister has set the strong word down that police has to go by the rule book and police has to act as per law. So this is the first thing
We
which
understand
the
that.
police force also,
Correct. You
no, the
said
police
that.
force also
You said that, but I
should
would-
conscientiously discharge their duty.
We would like your input on reforms.
Now,
Yeah.
as far as the reforms
Yes,
are concerned,
yes,
there is a lot of scope to do reforms at different levels. If you see that SPCA, the order of the Supreme Court, whereby the SPCA was formed,
Right.
it also envisaged a district police authority,
Authority. Okay.
state police authority.
Right.
See, all that is provided by the law.
Right.
Now we have a state police authority, which is dispensing justice. The state police authority is having 3 members, headed by a retired High Court judge. Human Rights Commission is there, but at the same time, we cannot tell people that you go to these authorities in case you want justice. These authorities are there; they are functioning to the best of their ability,
Right.
and they will do justice. There is no doubt. But at the same time, I also feel that while the government is sincere and everything is serious to ensure that the police function as per law and
Right.
no fancies, police also, as an institution, should discharge their functions conscientiously.
Right.
See, they are also Goans.
Right.
They are also our fellow people only. At the end of the day, who are the police officers? They are Goans. They are our people. Therefore, I am saying, ultimately for any institution to work, any institution, it may be press, it may be police, it may be anything, the persons who are manning should discharge their duties conscientiously.
Okay. Fair enough.
See, insofar as the aspect of reforms is concerned, one major concern is this balance that has to be created insofar as sensitization, as far as the communication between the general public is concerned and the police. See, there is no sensitization in terms of training given to the police, no soft skills. They are, the training is so rigorous during their formative years that they behave and they act in the same rigorous and brash way that they are given the training. Now, whenever you join any institution or job, there is a training period, there is a winning period that is there. Police are not going through that. They are not going through that. They are treated a certain way during the training. They enter the
And there's
force.
no upgradation of skills.
No upgradation of skills whatsoever.
Right.
So for me, being also in politics, I have seen that the aggressive attitude that is there the moment you enter inside. See, anybody who is going to the police station, first of all, is already aggrieved. He is already in a state of mind where he seeks some sort of redressal from. You enter the police station and you are met with an equal and opposite force, where you are not treated with that dignity and respect.
As he mentioned, 2 cases of his.
If you are not treated with that dignity and respect, there will be a fallout where people will refrain from going to seek.
Right.
So soft skills training and sensitization on how to treat people who are coming to the authority, and this I have also been saying has to be done with government officers across the board.
Right.
Because you enter Mamladar's office, Arey, anga was, thoy was. No. Person who is coming to your office is the one whose money is being used to pay your salary.
That's right. Correct.
So have apathy, have understanding, and treat them with dignity.
Empathy,
because
yeah.
empathy,
Yeah.
have treat them with dignity when they come to you.
Right.
This is across the board with all government
Right.
offices.
Yeah. Dr. Cleophas, your last words on this.
See, I will say crime prevention, crime investigation and prosecution must be totally separate. One, they must be not transferable within a fixed period, say 5 years. They should enjoy that 5-year period. And in case they have to be transferred, reasons will have to be given why they are transferred. Which reasons can be scrutinized even in a writ court. So that will bring some element of independence.
Right.
And the main independence must come is by this police establishment board itself. The board must be more independent than the
Right.
police.
Correct.
Then only little bit of independence will come.
What about the police bill? That's one final thing, because everybody is talking about the police bill. The issue is that, and that seems to be like in a limbo.
For a long time, the police bill, as sort of suggested by the court,
Right.
has not seen light in any of the states.
Yeah. So it is not a Goa problem. as
It
such.
is not
No,
it is
correct.
all over the country.
Correct. I'm afraid we are running out of time. We could have gone on a little more and much more, because ultimately these discussions are still less about government and systems, but more about people and how we treat our fellow beings. There is a human aspect to this which sometimes we forget in our whole flurry of discussions and debates. Because when we do this, ultimately we have to look at the face of that common man who's going to the police station with a complaint. And if he is thrashed, if his hair gets cut, or if he's ill-treated, then at the end of the day, he loses faith in the basic aspect of democracy, because he is the one who casts his vote, he pays his taxes, he obeys the law. And if the law itself appears not to do justice to him and appears to be on the side of the powerful, then this particular perception is something that needs to be addressed much more in the minds and hearts of people. So you can have as many reforms as our eminent panel has spoken of, but ultimately if the basic sensitivity is not there, especially by people who are in charge of governance, that your common man is somebody who needs justice and protection, rather than somebody who is powerful, who also within democracy needs justice. There is no denying that. But the person who has less access to ensuring that justice is given to him or her needs that kind of that protective arm of the state. And the fear here is that protecting arm of the state with affection, love and concern seems not to be with people who need it most. And that, I think, that perception has to be changed vigorously. And this is for the good of all. It's not just good for parties or governance, it's good for any civil society as a whole. I thank all my panelists for their excellent inputs and contributions to this, and I'm sure every word will go towards improving our system in some way. Let's at least keep hoping for that. Thank you very much, and we'll come back for more such debates.